but I put right in my rule of life, not just my work stuff, but it's like biking Thursday nights. That time is special. When people ask me if I'm free, even church, free Thursday nights, I just say no, right? You have to make your priorities. So um, I don't bring my phone in the morning. First thing I do is I go outside with a coffee. That's right in my rule of life. I just, for 2 minutes, I sit with a coffee. That's it, kind of thing. So yeah, the scheduling and discipline is so important. But if you're able to do it, the payoff is. And I imagine you've got a good rule of life, a good schedule.
Well, I love what you just said. I think that's like a massive key to being happy, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that doesn't really matter if you're an entrepreneur or in a leadership position or whatever. Like
No,
you can do that 8 to 5 Monday to Friday job, like a conventional,
Yep.
person, let's say,
Yep.
or a conventional job. Just penciling in those things, those non-negotiables,
Yes. Yeah.
whether it's meditation or,
Yes.
essentially your morning coffee is some form of meditation
Right.
that's super
Right.
important to you. And I often refer to fitness. So
Right.
for you, it's like your mountain bike night is every Thursdays.
Yeah.
I love debating the great debate of people that say that they don't have time to work out or be fit.
I love that too. You and I agree. I have no time for it, to be honest. Makes me angry. Anyway.
It's you won't win with me on that one, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll battle right to the end
I
that
do
you're
too.
full of shit.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Driven Dad podcast, where we celebrate dads that live with passion and lead with purpose. On this show, we'll host some dads that live incredible lives. Being a dad is the most important job you'll ever have. Get inspired by our amazing guest dads that refuse to live life in mediocrity and live epic lifestyles with their families. All right, guys, welcome back to the Driven Dad podcast. Today's guest has one of the most remarkable dad journeys we've heard yet. He's an Anglican priest, a husband, and a father of 5, all adopted within the last 3 years. From 0 to 5 daughters in one huge leap, he's navigated faith, fatherhood, and the chaos of everyday life with courage and heart. Welcome to the Driven Dad podcast, Dan.
Thank you. That was pretty good. Thank you very much.
I hit it right on the nail there.
You made me sound pretty good. Thank you.
Well, it's pretty accurate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So before we get in the hard stuff, I have a little question for you. So, do your daughters let you make any decisions in the house, or are you basically seen as the guy that gets the stuff from the tall shelves from the house?
Oh no, my lovely wife Sarah is the boss, but no, my daughters always say there's 2 bosses, mom first, which makes sense, and then dad. So, so I'm not outmanned. I've always made that joke. I'm not completely outmanned, even though I am the only man. But yeah,
Good to know you still have a part in the say in
that's
the
right.
household.
That's right. I know where my role is. Yeah.
So you went from 0 to 5 kids pretty much overnight or close to.
Yeah.
What was that transition like in your life emotionally and just like, the whole picture? Tell us about that whole scenario.
Yeah. You want the longer version or the short version?
Tell us the whole thing, man.
Okay. Well, the first date I ever had with my now wife, Sarah, was on the Sussex Bluffs. We hiked the bluffs. And while we were up there, we got talking. In fact, we got talking so late that we walked home in the dark without lights, which was great. But one of the things that got brought up for both of us, we're both Christians, and I'm sorry that's going to come out, but we both felt called by God to adopt. And that came out, like both of us, day one that we met each other. I always kind of envisioned a big mixed family. And then Sarah also felt called to adopt. So when we got married, a couple of years after that, we started the process right away of applying to be adoptive parents. It's a long process. You do some training. They call it pride training. And then you match up after you finish the training. So while we were training, though, my wife, she's a full-time mom now, which is the most important job out there for a woman, and a dad for a man, of course. But my wife heard of this, and she's not supposed to, but heard of this group that needed adopted of 5 girls through her work, which is semi-private or whatever, and healthcare. And at the same time, through my work, I was helping out at a food bank I had a lady come up to me almost in tears. She didn't know we were adopting. And she said, I know this sounds so weird. This is another like God moment. She said, I know a group of 5 sisters that you and your wife should adopt. And it was a big moment because it was like, wow, yeah, we've been actually thinking about this unofficially.
So this lady, you've never told her
No,
that you guys
no.
were thinking about it.
We were close we both worked at the Hampton Food Bank. We were very close, but I never shared anything about adopting. It was pretty special. Yeah, she was almost in tears, and I couldn't help it at the time too, because it was like, wow. So Sarah and I used to joke about, should we really look into adopting this group of 5? And then we'd laugh and say, no, no, no. And then slowly those jokes turned into, no, we should actually look into this more. And then we did. And different court cases because of time wise. So we adopted the older 4 girls first. And then we adopted our 5th, Mia, not too long after that. And they officially became McMullens on the same day. But yeah, so yeah, 0 from 5 is pretty accurate portrayal. We're very lucky in the sense that there's lots of kids in New Brunswick who need adoption. When we were adopting, there was 3 groups of 4 or more, which is very rare. And they have statistically 90% of sibling groups of 4 or more don't get adopted together because it's really hard to find houses. So we heard those stats and it kind of broke our heart. And then we heard that there was like 2 groups of 5 and 1 group of 4 all at the same time. And it's funny because out of the 2 groups of 5, it was 9 girls and 1 boy. And we used to make the joke that we'll adopt all of them and my wife will take care of the girls and I'll take care of the boy. But,
Good deal.
Yeah. But we just stuck with the 1 group of 5. They've all been adopted, praise God, which is really neat.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
We adopted them. And we're very lucky. They're very healthy, happy girls that probably would have been adopted younger in life if there wasn't so many of them. Like they're full siblings, which is kind of strange. So they wanted to keep them together. They were separated during one of their foster stints, and that was very difficult for them. So they wanted to stay together. And
how long were they in the foster system before you guys adopted them?
So our oldest, Abby, is 11 years old. And she's lived in like 10 different houses, which is pretty sad.
Wow.
Yeah. But she's doing great. Abby and Brooklyn are the 2 oldest, and they're the only ones who would really remember their biological family. The other ones were taken right away. And then they had visits and things like that. But what was the original question? Sorry. Sorry. Try to think back to
how long were they in the system before you guys adopted them?
Yeah. So Rosalie is now 7 and our middle child, and she would have been taken right at the hospital. So for 4 years, I guess they were in the system. Yeah, and they were at lots of different foster homes because again, it's really hard to find houses that will take these large groups of children. One thing we were very lucky is the foster home that they were in right before we adopted them. Again, they jumped all over the place, which is common, was in Sussex. So they were actually going to school in Sussex and new friends in Sussex. So that was like another thing where it's like, this is just working out where it really feels like they're meant to be our kids kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It won't be like a massive shocker for them,
no,
like culture wise.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Abby at the time, who, the most mature and the oldest, she was like, I really don't want to move again, all this stuff. Really, her last foster parents were beautiful, lovely people kind of thing. So that was a bit easier, for them to say, well, you're actually staying right in the same community and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Do you think your kids realize how fortunate they are to have been adopted by you guys?
Well, the jury's still out on that one. No, if they're fortunate or not. No, we definitely feel very fortunate to have them. I do think as far as they can understand, they're very young and they don't know their own family history, which is probably a good thing for the most part. But I do think they have an appreciation. They bounced around from house to house, and they love us very much. Almost too much. They're very attached, which is great because they can finally be attached to people without it being ripped away kind of thing. Sarah, I always make the joke, I can't wait till they realize I'm not that cool. Because right now they're all over you, which is beautiful. The grass is always greener. I'll miss it when it's not the case. But I think for their age and their level of maturity, they do have a deep appreciation, for being part of a family. One of the things that's sad, because they're in so many different foster homes and split up and put back together, I don't even think they fully realized that they were sisters, if that makes any sense.
Oh, wow.
Because they're just constantly surrounded by other foster kids. They were separated, they were back together. So I think they knew, but I don't know if they really knew what that meant. So they're learning what that means as well, like to be part of a family, but to be sisters with each other. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But I do think, to give them lots of credit, they are very appreciative of the opportunity, and we are too. Yeah. One of the things we did, I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. One of the things we did, it's an adoption fair, which is a terrible name, but what else do you call it? But it's where they present the children, they don't name them by name, who are ready to be adopted. And if you've passed your training or whatever and you're eligible, you can be matched up in that time. So there was 9 to 11 different cases kind of when we went to this adoption fair. Again, terrible name. But our system is so broken, I'm not blaming everybody, that basically all of these cases was older kids, like preteens or teenagers, with deep, deep, deep issues because they've come from broken families and then they've been bounced around foster homes for their whole life. And the way the system works very well, it's not very good. It's really hard to get adopted at a young age. It's not the best system. Their goal, social development goal, is to reunite biological families, which is an honorable goal. It's a good goal. But I've always thought the main goal should be the health of the child and the welfare of the child. And if that means the biological parents, in my mind, they're getting too many chances. But we went to this adoption fair, and all the cases were very difficult children, like 12 years old. And it was like, these kids is going to have a hard time being adopted. And then near the end, it came all these big sibling groups. And it was like, actually, these kids are wonderful. The challenge is that there's a lot of them. Yeah, so we feel very blessed. The 0 to 5 was very hard, but our kids are healthy, happy kids, and we're very lucky with that. Yeah,
that's great. You both are very lucky, right? You guys are lucky parents, and
yes,
they're lucky kids to have you guys. And
thank you.
Very, very cool what you guys have done there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
It's very honorable. What was the moment that you knew that, or I guess you've already told us that, when you went on the hike with
right away
with your then girlfriend, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. Not even first date.
You knew
yeah.
That was the moment that adoption was right for you guys.
Yeah. I would even say God wrote it on my heart before that, to use funny language, but that I would even say that, but that really solidified it. For sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's something unexpected that you've learned about yourself through fatherhood in the last, so how long was it a few years ago that you guys have adopted the girls?
Yeah. So the process from them coming to like you meeting them, from them becoming McMullens in our case is about a year. It can be longer than that. Ours was a bit more than a year. So I think they've officially been McMullens for like almost 3 years, and then 1 year of kind of transitioning them into our home kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then, what's something unexpected that you've experienced about yourself, like through fatherhood, especially as a dad of 5 girls?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a fairly easygoing, joyful person. I like to laugh and smile a lot. I find parenting very frustrating, and I realize my fuse is shorter than I thought.
I didn't think that's what you were going to say.
Oh, really? It's something I need to work on.
I honestly, I don't care what your personality is as a person in general. I think if you don't believe a bit of what you just said, you're full of it.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's just part of parenting, and you learn to, deal with that.
Yeah. We all have this kind of ideal, family that we think of before we have it in our mind, or this is what I'm going to look like as a father. And it's like never yelling, never raising my voice, and always coming back with love. And you read all about it, beat it with love kind of thing. So I failed many times with that, not dramatically, but every day I fail with that. But
There's so many external factors too, right? Like sometimes it's not about them. It's just about the other 10 things that happened prior to that thing that they said or did, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of influences on how you apply your parenting on a daily basis. But I think that's the reality of parenting.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. How old are your kids?
My kids are 5.5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Both of them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I try to be intentional with my parenting on a daily basis, and I know who I want to be or how I want to show up for them. But some days it's not, it is under your control, but some days it's a lot more challenging than others.
Yes.
Your patience level is different. Your energy level is different, but I think you do your best and you stay within your boundaries.
Yes.
And that's all you can do.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We read a lot of parenting books, of course, while we were in the midst of this. And in my mind, the best advice I ever got was from this like really old school, like Christian parenting book. It had like an old lady on the cover. I think it was just called Christian Parenting. It was so unassuming. I would never pick it up unless it was recommended to me. But I think that the first page has, in my mind, the best advice I've had going into parenting. And it literally said, here's the first step to parenting, confession. It's the confession that you really don't know what you're doing. But in that is a lot of grace. And you need to be able to forgive yourself, of course, as well. But I've always, first step is confession that we don't know what we're doing. The book continues, we're broken people trying to form other broken people. Something is not going to, it's not always going to go right. But in that, there's a lot of grace, and forgiveness is very important kind of thing. So that's something I'll always remember.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like now as parents with experience, when you hear parents to be talking about their theories of, how they believe they're going to be as a parent, or what they're going to do with their kids, or how they're going to raise them, or whatever. And in your head, you kind of step back and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, it used to be me too. I remember some of my friends started having children, before we did. And I remember the kind of the malaise I would always see. And I swore that would never be me. And now sure enough it is. But
I will say there's certain things that you do get to decide to be different than other parents. Like you always have your theories of like, I'm never going to say that to my kids. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to do so many cool things. And you know what? You can be better on certain angles than other parents. You can do it better on certain angles.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going to surprise you and hit you in the face, and it's going to be a lot more challenging than you thought. But, for us, it was on the forefront of like being active, traveling, staying healthy and fit, going on adventures, going camping. Those are all decisions that you get to make. Yes, it's like 20 times more challenging to do than when you didn't have kids.
Yes.
Going to the gym means a lot more planning. You can't chill out until 10 minutes before you head out to the gym. You need to charge the iPads, prepare the snacks, make sure everyone's dressed because you told them 10 times and they still don't have socks on. But you can go to the gym.
Yes.
It's just more planning, more energy to get them ready and to bring them there. But if you believe that you want to be a parent that stays healthy and fit, that's a choice.
Yes.
If you believe that you can put your kid on your shotgun seat and go on a 15K bike ride with them, that's a choice.
Yes.
You're probably going to have to stop 20 times and give them 20 snacks and show them cool worms or insects or, something like that. But it's doable.
Yes.
So if you do strongly believe in, I want to be a parent that does things this way, some things are choices, right?
Amen. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Another great thing I read, going into becoming a father, is that you have the ability and the responsibility to make those choices, the ability and the responsibility. So absolutely. There's all sorts of grace, but don't let that be a scapegoat, right? For just living through life averagely, which you're so against, and me too. So thank you for saying that. That's wonderful.
It's a strong belief of ours for sure. And it's something that we're also very proud of. And I think I look at other parents doing things like that, similarity, in a similar way, and I'm proud of them too, right? Like,
Right.
because we're a band of parents, or like a type of parents that are inspiring other parents around us, right? We're showing other parents that if they're not doing, or if they're not choosing to live life this way,
Yeah.
that's their choice, but they could be doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about choosing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's a decision.
Yeah. And like the big decision is actually a bunch of little decisions throughout the day, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So, big question for you. Something I don't know about you, but what was your road to becoming a priest? I don't know this story. How
Yeah.
did you decide to go that route? Because according to me, as far as I know, it's not a very common choice, at least not in our generation. So I'm very curious to know, what was your
Yeah.
decision
I'm definitely the youngest
process?
when I go to meet with other priests. I'm definitely
Are
the
you?
youngest.
Yeah, that's how I saw it, but I was wondering if that was the actual case.
Yeah, no, you're very true. I grew up with two very devout Christian parents who did an amazing job. That's the other thing I realized, becoming a parent, how well my parents did. Anyway, thank you, Mom and Dad. They did incredible, but they're both very devout Christians, and like that actually meant something to them. They didn't just take us to church on a Sunday, but they did active. They served in food banks, and we prayed all the time, and we read scripture. Like it wasn't just like a dress them up for Sunday morning. We weren't just Sunday Christians. We were Christians every day of the week. So in some sense, that's all I know, and it's been a great life, and I've never kind of veered from that. My father is a priest as well. So I always saw though how much he worked and how much he carried other people's burdens. And I always thought, I'll never be a priest. Like I never want to be a priest at all. And that was my whole thing. When I did my first degree, it was a Bachelor of Science, and I studied math and stats, mostly because it was a science degree, but there's no labs in math and stats. Like if you're chemistry, you have to do labs and tutorials. So it's kind of an easy way out. But then I always thought I'd become a teacher or a professor. I had been accepted to do my master's in both math and stats at Dalhousie. And that's kind of what I was about to do, getting ready to do that. At the time, to make some money, though, I took a job with a church youth group, a local youth group, being a youth, you wouldn't even call it a youth pastor, but a youth group leader, whatever. And I found it really life-giving. And I thought, okay, wow, maybe there's something to this. I should say at the same time, or just before that, I walked away from the faith at one point. I thought I was too cool, essentially. I thought it was irrelevant. I thought I was too cool. I didn't think it made any sense. So I kind of slowly stepped away, and I talked to my father about it, who said very good advice. He said, that's a big decision to make, Dan. And he said, if you're going to make that, that's good, but you should probably actually be educated. And he gave me some books to read. And I remember actually I was tutoring at university in the Math Help Science Center at UNB. And nobody was there. So I picked up a copy of Luke, one of the books of the Bible, and I read it. And I remember thinking, oh crap, this reads like it actually happened. This reads like it's history. I remember thinking, oh crap. But then I didn't believe it because I didn't want to believe, the guy. So my dad gave me another book by a Christian, which showed how reliable the Gospels are. So the actual, like the books of the Bible we have around Jesus' life, how reliable they are. And I read that, very convincing, and I thought, but that's from a Christian guy. Of course he's going to say that. So my dad pulled out another book from a secular historian that talked about how the books of the New Testament are very historically credible, extremely. In fact, every way we know how to measure history, the New Testament stands alone as like basically the best historical document we have, which is really quite neat when you think about it. So I slowly came back to the faith through that. It was like a logic, like a head thing. Mm. But then it dropped to my heart. We always say this, you can believe something in your head, like that Jesus rose from the dead, but till it drops to your heart, it doesn't mean much, right? So when it dropped to my heart, that was when I was like, I think I'm called into ministry, which was in that summer, basically before I started a master's program. And I never wanted to be a priest, but I wanted to go into ministry, maybe paraministry, we call it. So you do an outreach organization, or something like that. But all of a sudden I did a 180-degree turn. And instead of going to Dalhousie for a master's, I went to Toronto to Wycliffe College, which is a seminary where they train Anglican priests. And again, I was never planning to become a priest at the time. I just knew that knew that I wanted to follow Jesus, wanted to help others do the same. While I was up there, I worked for a big street ministry called the Scott Mission. And for a while, I thought that was where I was going to go after I graduated too, was stay in Toronto and do that. It was a cool, hip ministry. It wasn't kind of priestly ministry with the robes and stuff. But God continued to pull in my heart. And I kind of reluctantly was ordained a priest, thinking that I'll do this to satisfy people, but I'll still secretly do the cool ministry I always saw it, youth ministry, outreach ministry. And I was ordained, but then I felt called to parish ministry in Sussex through my wife, and I thought it was going to be the most boring thing that wasn't actually life-giving, and it's been amazing just to be part of a regular, normal church, doing the kind of churchy stuff. It's been very life-giving for me. So that's the longer answer to that, though. Yeah.
I love it. That's a great story.
Yeah.
I wanted the long version.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think like in your everyday job, is the sense of bringing a community of like-minded people together, is that one of the valuable assets for you?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. And that's really high for you. And that's so good. And I love that. And that's definitely part of a church. One of the things I love about church, though, is Jesus' call is actually, whether you're like-minded or not, to come together. That's not to downplay coming together to do stuff. Of course, that's very important. But where the church differs, and one thing I love about it, because I don't want to be with people who don't think like me. I don't want to be with people, but the church kind of forces me to, and it forces me to love my neighbor, even when I really don't want to bump up with these people, to serve them, to eat food with them. And there's something really hard about that, but really beautiful. Again, we wouldn't succeed in doing a lot of things. However, that is kind of, Jesus' idea. Jesus used to eat with sinners and tax collectors and prostitutes. So sometimes we'll have people over at our house for a meal, and I think, I really don't like this person that much. I don't get along. We don't agree. But I think Jesus calls us to this. And there's something kind of beautiful about sharing life, even when it's difficult with those kind of people. Again, it wouldn't be the kind of people you'd want to gather to try to do something and succeed, or you know what I mean? But it is a calling, I think, in the church to actually be with those people, even if you're not like-minded. And one of the things I like about kind of your regular church is it kind of forces you to do that. Yeah.
That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I like that.
But definitely like leadership and stuff. I work in a team ministry, which I'm very lucky. So there's two of us that share responsibilities for a few smaller country churches, and then a couple right in Sussex that are a bit bigger, not very big though. And for sure, like we just hired another pastor, and for sure, what you were saying about, do we align? Our goals aligned? How do we actually see what Jesus' kingdom looks like in the community? Are we on the same page and things like that? We're very lucky. So the gentleman we hired, thankfully, he's not a second version of Dan. He's much wiser than I am. But we very much align with, how are we actually going to take our church, our ministries forward? We don't like the word succeed, but maybe we should. That's just a cop-out maybe for some Christians. But to succeed, to grow the kingdom, to have more people know about how much God loves them and stuff. And in that case, for sure, like when you have a team ministry, you want people to be aligned and like-minded in the sense that, the stuff I was saying earlier. Yeah.
I think the way I see it is, and in all honesty, I haven't been to church in a very long time.
You're always welcome to my church.
Well,
I'll take a drive. But
I'll show up one day. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Bring your family. We have a kids program.
I often tell Renee that I would love to want to go to church, but for me, it's more like I would love to go into a room on a weekly basis where everyone's there to do good.
Yeah.
Their intention is to be better, to do better, no matter what their present situation is. as you just kind of brought up, like, you know, there's all sorts of people in the room. They're not necessarily like-minded as far as like, they're not all mountain bikers like we are or whatever.
I know, darn.
Yeah, by the way, you're probably the only mountain biking priest I know. Well, definitely the only one I know, but maybe the only one around. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Although that would be both of those terms. I wouldn't describe myself as a mountain biker, so that's a liberal definition of it. But thank you.
But yeah, what I was saying is like, it would be great, you know, to adapt that habit of showing up on a weekly basis in a room where I know that people, you know, want to better themselves and are showing up, you know, whatever their goals are in life or whoever they are presently. Their goal is to show up and, you know, to be surrounded by people that want to rise, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is just my perception of it, and it might be different. It's obviously different in all different churches and different religions and stuff. But I think there's a lot of like old schoolness to religions, or some religions, which...
I'm an Anglican. We're old school.
And I think it comes directly to like, the churches that I've seen, it's all old people.
Yes.
Or mostly old people that attend, right?
Yeah.
So I think if it would be all young people, I'd be more attracted to try.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I think, I don't know what the solution is, but I think if there would be some way to attract the younger generation, I think there would be more people interested in attending, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say two things to that?
For sure.
And I don't want to overtake with this and stuff like that. One is that we are seeing, not so much in New Brunswick, you know, us backwoods New Brunswick folk, but we are seeing churches that are very modern, you know, where you would go and the church service would almost look like a rock concert. And I say that as a good thing, you know, that's wonderful. And for lots of people, that is how they're going to connect to God, through kind of an emotional experience. And that's all very good. God in the Bible is very emotional. So, you know, I never knock that. It's not my cup of tea, but I would never knock that. So there are churches that are doing that are full of young people, which is really cool. The second thing, which I find interesting, is, do you know we probably wouldn't, there be no reason you would, but the number one growing denomination, so Christian denomination in North America amongst young men, is Orthodox. If you go to an Orthodox church, it kind of looks like a Catholic church. It's extremely high church robes. It's extremely mysterious. It's extremely traditional. And that's the highest growing. We don't have many of them in New Brunswick, unfortunately, but that's the largest growing amongst young men in North America, which is really fascinating. It's not what I would guess. I would guess the cool, hip, modern churches. But there's something about, I hate the word authentic, but anyway, I'm going to say it. Mm-hmm. There's something about how authentic that is. Like the Orthodox movement, which I'm very attracted to. I always joke that Anglicans are just English Orthodox people. That's not completely true, but there's something authentic about the Orthodox movement. They do this ancient ritual of worship that's been handed down to them for 2,000 years, since Jesus. They hand all that stuff down. They continue generation after generation, and they don't even try to be cool at all. And if you don't think they're cool, I don't think they're cool, they don't really care. And there's something I love about that, right? There's something attractive in that quality, that they're not looking for my approval. They're just going to do this ancient thing because it brings them closer to God. And there's something authentic in that. I hope these churches kind of pop up, maybe in Dieppe, I don't know, but pop up across our province. But yeah, absolutely. I would agree with a lot of what you said. One of the things, it sounds like you're not looking for a Sunday morning, because Sunday morning is kind of just your larger crowd gathered to basically receive and worship, and that's good. But we have lots of small groups in our church. One of them is called Practicing the Way, and it's a bunch of people get together with like-minded people who want to intentionally do the practices that Jesus did, and we hold each other accountable for it. And that group's smaller. That's only like 20 people that do that. And we, there's a series we go through in teaching. But that's like, we hold each other accountable. Did you do your community service this week? Yeah, not to bash you if you didn't, but this is what we're called to.
Almost like a mentoring program.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Did you read your scripture? Did you pray for somebody today? Like just those simple practices. But actually, let's hold accountable for it. It sounds like that would be something that would be more up your alley.
Right.
And I've always thought, the Sunday gatherings are so important for worship, but the heartbeat of a church is in those small groups. It's in common meals shared between people. It's stuff like that where the real heartbeat is. Yeah.
Interesting. That's a dive into something that I've never really had any discussions on. So
good. Yeah.
Very interesting perspective on all of it.
Well, thank you for allowing me to yap about it. I told you I was going to try not to yap about this stuff, but
it's super interesting, right? I'm sure a lot of the listeners will have never dove deep into that subject. So
you don't have a bunch of Christians that watch this
I don't know, maybe after this for sure.
Yeah, a bunch of Orthodox people are going to watch it and I'll start mountain biking.
Question for you, how has being a priest influenced the way that you show up as a father and as a husband at home?
Yeah. Thank you. This is a great question. And this is one of those questions where I feel so blessed. I assume your many roles, the many hats you wear, also kind of allow you to do this. I'm my own boss in some sense. I have a bishop and Jesus is king. But today I can come for half a day and do this and go biking afterwards. Thank you again so much. And like when my daughters have a play in the middle of the day, I go to it. It's been wonderful like that. There's certain things in the week that I have to do. But I have lots of flexibility, which is great too when the kids are on school. If I need to go biking for an hour for my own mental and physical health, I just do that, right? Which is wonderful. I feel so blessed to be able to do that. So I feel very connected to my children because of that. I feel very present would be, I guess, the fancy word, and I'm so lucky I'm able to do that. And my church family too is so wonderful. They'd be the first one to say, "No, go do a podcast with your friend and go for a mountain bike." Like I had to miss a small group today, but it was not a big deal. So I'm very, very lucky that way, and I don't take that for granted at all. No, I'm so lucky I can drop things and do stuff with my kids. The one area that's tricky though is ministry is a lot of evenings because most people work through the day, right? So then the kids come home from school and I leave sometimes. So that's hard. That's frustrating. And then also, I'm on call pastorally, we would say. If something happens to somebody, I have to get up and go. And it's a privilege to be able to do that, to go to people and try to bring some of the grace of God, into nasty situations kind of thing. But I've been really lucky in a sense that I've just been able to be so present with my kids. I drop our youngest is in play school. I drop her off and pick her up Mondays and Tuesdays. That's me who does that, which is great. Shotgun seat bicycling sometimes, which is really fun.
Nice. I love it.
And things like that. I was able to coach Abby basketball the past 2 years. For our oldest, I was able to coach her, which was great. My job has lots of flexibility, and I'm very, very happy for that. Yeah.
Having flexibility like that, it's worth so much. Right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Time is our greatest asset, right?
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely some challenges being in a leadership position such as you're in, or as an entrepreneur or whatever. It's all the same thing. You have responsibilities. You have to manage your own time. So it's a great responsibility, right? Like it's all on you. You have a job to do. You're responsible to get it done. You can manage your own time in the way that you wish. But you have to be disciplined about it. You can't just be, free flowing, not scheduling anything. So but if you have that personality that has the discipline to, schedule all your things, have all your ducks in order, it gives you so much flexibility and time on the back end, and it makes it all worth it, right?
Amen. So Christians we call it a rule of life, but it's really just piggybanking off of it's another word for a schedule, but we like to make things sound spiritual and stuff. So I have a rule of life that I follow like very much because it allows me the flexibility on the back end, like exactly what you said. But I put right in my rule of life, not just my work stuff, but it's like biking Thursday nights. That time is special. When people ask me if I'm free, even church, free Thursday nights, I just say no, right? You have to make your priorities. So I don't bring my phone in the morning. First thing I do is I go outside with a coffee. That's right in my rule of life. For 2 minutes I sit with a coffee. That's it, kind of thing. So yeah, the scheduling and discipline is so important. But if you're able to do it, the payoff is. And I imagine you've got a good rule of life, a good schedule.
Well, I love what you just said. I think that's like a massive key to being happy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that doesn't really matter if you're an entrepreneur or in a leadership position or whatever. Like
No,
you can do that 8 to 5 Monday to Friday job, like a conventional,
Yep.
person, let's say,
Yep.
or a conventional job. Just penciling in those things, those non-negotiables,
Yes. Yeah.
whether it's meditation or,
Yes.
essentially your morning coffee is some form of meditation
Right.
that's super
Right.
important to you. And I often refer to fitness. So
Right.
for you, it's like your mountain bike night is every Thursdays.
Yeah.
I love debating the great debate of people that say that they don't have time to work out or be fit.
I love that too. You and I agree. I have no time for it, to be honest. Makes me angry. Anyway.
It's you won't win with me on that one, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll battle right to the end
I
that
do
you're
too.
full of shit.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, our community, our way of living is so rushed, right? And it's so individualized too, which is kind of bad. But then we take pride almost in being busy, and I can't stand that. And like even priests will brag about, oh, I never took my day off this week because I was so busy with all these ministries. And it's like, dude, first of all, we're even told in scripture to take a Sabbath, to take a day off. So now you're disobeying God. But second of all, like, I'm not impressed. Who's impressed? I hate this idea of being rushed and being busy. And when people say, yeah, I don't have time for stuff, I have no patience with it. I'm like, I still try to argue with them. Not argue, but I'll say, yes, you do.
Yeah. And for the important things, like I like to work it backwards. So
make room.
Just like you said, like you book your Thursday.
Yes.
That's a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Nothing else goes in that time frame. Same for workouts. If it's a noon workout or, if you really have a crazy schedule with your work and your kids, I'm ready to bet a lot of money that at 5 a.m. you have nothing going on.
Yes.
You know, if that's the only thing that works, and you
have to go to bed earlier, you do that. Yeah.
It's a choice, right?
Yeah.
You can tell me you choose not to do it, but don't tell me you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. No, you and I are very aligned on that one. That's one thing I just hear a lot, and I just think it's bogus, if I'm really honest. Because I know people who
100%.
are way busier than me and are doing the dad thing so well and are pouring into themselves and those around them, and they're way busier than me, kind of thing. And
I think it's because they prioritize what they know will, make them happy, which in the end allows them to show up for that
Yes,
stuff,
that's
right?
Yeah.
If you're, fat, out of shape, have no energy, unfulfilled, doing a job you don't like, how good of a dad do you think you're going to be at 5 p.m.
Right.
when you show up back home?
Right. Yeah.
No energy.
Yeah.
Not happy with yourself. You hate your job.
Yes.
You're unfulfilled.
Yes.
You're essentially failing. So how good of a dad are you going to be at 5 p.m. when you show up?
Right.
And people see that backwards, where they say,
Yeah.
well, working out is selfish because I'm taking, some time away from being present with my kids or whatever. No, you're selfish if you choose not to work out,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Because once you've worked out, first of all, your kids are going to watch you. They're going to be like, my dad is sick. Like, look at my dad lifting that, 200-pound bar or just, doing burpees or whatever. So it's like a dual purpose. Like, you're bettering yourself and you're making your kids see, that health is important and that fitness is normal.
Yes.
And it's a good thing, right? It's not like, it's something that every family should incorporate in their life. Every parent should incorporate in their life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought on that.
Oh, sorry.
One.
Absolutely.
I was so passionate about it.
I agree completely. Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, and you and I, we should acknowledge. I guess we're lucky. I suppose that we found kind of this stuff. If that makes any sense. Like I wouldn't want people listening to just.
I would argue that we're fortunate, but we're intentional.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Okay.
You're not lucky that you found your path.
Right.
You built your life.
Right.
And I 100% know that I did the same.
Right.
And when there's a part of my life that I'm no longer fulfilled by,
Right.
or that I don't like anymore,
Right. Cut it out.
I don't, go crying that I don't like it or whatever.
Right.
I start making, start building my new path.
Right.
Start making that
Yes.
change.
Yeah.
Might take a day, a week, a month, 2 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But I start building that road, going in the right direction instead of heading down that dead end road that's
Yes.
going to slowly kill me.
Yes. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. The other thing I want to note with the rule of life or the schedule that I found really great is I put like special time with my kids in that. So then it's like late, like it's like during this slot, it's the same thing. I'm not available. And then and I just love that. So I'll go for a bike ride and we try to get, both my wife and I try to get one special time a week, just one-on-one with one of them. Like there's 5 of them. So it's very difficult. But even if it's just a quick, Tim Hortons treat or a quick bike ride, that's usually what it is with me kind of thing. But that's scheduled right in there. So it's like, no, that's a non-negotiable when I do it. And
amazing.
Yeah. So that's another kind of good bit of advice. Yeah.
I love that. And that's very admirable because we only have 2 and I find that challenging.
It's all hard. Yeah. It's all very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you put it in there, one of the things, that's helped me. It's like stop, kind of admiring the life you don't have, and live the life you already have. Find joy in the things that you already have, because that's the only place you actually are. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so even if it's just okay for 10 minutes, I'm gonna go on a bike ride, or I'm gonna go for a walk, or take the dog for a walk with one of my children. It's like that's good, right? And that's life-giving. So
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
yeah. So don't, make it attainable. We always say have SMART goals, which are measurable, attainable, and like it's a whole acronym, but right, like
dude, this is so weird. I literally wrote down that today.
Nice.
It's right there on my board. SMART goal.
There's
the acronym is there.
Yeah, it's like measurable, attainable.
SMART, measurable, attainable. I can't remember the R.
I can't remember it.
Realistic.
Realistic or realistic, or it might be repeatable even. Like anyway, I'm sure there's different ones.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. So let's talk about some fun stuff. So you called yourself an amateur adventurer.
Yeah.
In the questions.
Stress the amateur.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite types of adventures that you go on or that you bring your family on?
Yeah, I love camping. Like not even like hardcore camping, like let's just get a tent and go to fun day kind of thing. I love that. Hot dogs and beans around a campfire. Absolutely love that. So my wife was very smart. She said, if you're going to take me and 5 girls camping, you're going to get us a trailer. So we got a tent trailer, which is kind of like in between. The
tent trailers are awesome.
I know, we love it.
I love it.
And we do shorter trips, because with 5 kids, that was one thing we realized, that a week is actually not that much fun, but 3 days is really fun. Right. When they're older, it will be a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So we do lots of mini camping trips just for a night or 2 nights.
Amazing.
We take the tent trailer and we pile the kids in our Atlas and we go, and it's really fun. So that would be the biggest one. And what was really neat is like this was something that I liked so much. It was kind of just like, kids, you're going to do this. Like, we're going to do this. Sarah liked it too. And they all really liked it, which isn't surprising. My kids are gung-ho for anything, which is one of the best things about them. Like if you get excited for it, yeah, they get excited for it. So they love the idea of camping. But the first couple summers we did it, it was really challenging. It was really stressful. But last summer, we had a moment where we were all set up. The kids were biking around the little campground outside of Fun Day there. And we started a fire, had some drinks, and it was first moment, and we were cooking hot dogs. My wife and I looked at each other and it was like, we are all having fun. This is incredible. So we're really looking forward to camping this summer, because I felt like last summer was the first time we could really just relax and settle into it. But that would be the big, very amateur though. Again, we're not doing any hardcore backpacking or anything like that, but just go to Fun Day, play in the big playground, go swimming in the saltwater pool and stuff like that. But
I think there's a great lesson there too for parents. Like, you took them out camping multiple times until it was a big success, right?
Right.
And people
Yeah.
quit after
Yes.
1 or 2 times of anything,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
camping.
Like, it wasn't fun the first time we did it. I won't lie. Yeah, because we were just so stressed about the girls and their behaviors. And, you know, classic, you get there, you're trying to set up the tent trailer while balls are being thrown at you and stuff. But yeah, we stuck with it, and it was really wonderful last time. Yeah.
Amazing. Camping, it's some of the best memories that
Yeah.
everyone will have as a kid, too.
Yeah, that was mine. So just kind of continuing that. And we go to West River. Shout out to West River. It's on the other side of Fun Day, on the other side of Alma. Scott McMullen, no connection, runs it with his family. And what we like about it is it's really small. It's one loop, so you can send the kids biking and you can just sit in your camp chair. And Fun Day's still right there. And there's a playground in the center. And there's cabins right beside the tent site. So we bring our tent trailer while my parents, they'll rent a cabin kind of thing.
Cool.
So it's easier for them. So
Sweet.
it just works great. Yeah. Sorry,
that's
shout out to West River. But yeah.
Yeah, I've passed by it many times, but we've never camped there, so we might try it out now that you vouched for it.
Yeah, if you want kind of a smaller feel, you know, cozy feel,
Right.
and you have kind of multiple different, again, because like our friend tented, my parents had a cabin, like we had a tent show, we had it all going on last summer. It was great. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned to me that you don't get maybe as much fitness as you wish that you could get in on a regular basis.
I'm too busy.
Dan, I can help you with that.
Thank you.
So how do you wrestle with that tension of self-care versus family demands, like on a regular basis?
Oh, that's a great question. And I don't really know would be, I guess, the most honest answer, and I don't know if I've done it well. The only thing I can think of though is you know, the saying, you can't pour much out of an empty cup. So like Thursday nights I go biking. That's non-negotiable, and that kind of feeds myself. My kids don't come with me. They want to, but they don't come with me for that one. But that kind of really is the only kind of weekly fitnessy thing consistently that I'm getting. I play basketball on Fridays as well, I should say. That's another semi non-negotiable, although quite often on Fridays I'll go mountain biking as well. But yeah, I don't know if I've done a great job of balancing it to what we were previously saying. You know, I probably have more time, more ability to be able to do more, but the things that I do for my fitness, I make sure they're life-giving so that I can give back to my kids after. And I don't feel bad about doing this thing that just benefits me, because, and like you said, it doesn't just benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just benefit you. But yeah, I don't really know if I have a good answer for that one. Yeah.
It's all good.
What do you do?
I like to mix it up.
Yeah.
So I was a CrossFit gym owner for 8 years. So
Yeah.
CrossFit's been my kind of main foundation of fitness for the last probably 15 or so years.
Yeah.
I love that method. I love that methodology of training, strength and conditioning. I've definitely modified my outlook on what I expose my body to, or like what intensity I expose my body to. Certain movements I don't do anymore, just for the longevity of my body and to feel good on a regular basis. So I like to say I don't do the sport of CrossFit. I do the workout of CrossFit. I go to my community CrossFit gym. I love to talk to the people that are at the classes I go to. It's half for the social, half for the fitness.
Yes, that's great.
It's a really easy way for me to have like a concrete schedule or a concrete way of exposing myself to fitness on a regular basis. It's a 1 hour class, in and out, super fast, super efficient. Yes. I don't look at the workout. I just show up, do the work. I know it's going to be a full body workout. So I like to do that anywhere between 2 to 5 times per week, depending on the seasons.
Yeah, good for you.
In the wintertime, I go a little bit more often.
Yes.
In the summertime,
you're not biking as much.
Exactly. Yeah. Like today, I didn't go to the gym because I want my legs to work tonight for mountain biking, right?
Yeah.
But what's cool is if you have that foundation to rely on, then everything else is better. Like you're better at everything else, right? When you show up for biking, you have that solid foundation. You're not like necessarily extremely rusty from the off season, because you've still
Yes.
done your workouts during the winter time and the off season. So when biking comes along, you're not, in super out of shape. You're just a little bit bike out of shape.
That's where, that's where I struggle. Like, and parenting has made it more difficult. But like I was at the end of this winter, I was the heaviest I've ever been in my life, kind of thing. So my wife and I have started an isogenics program, which is going really well, and we're really enjoying it, being intentional about what we put into our bodies, at least. And that's been great. But that's the one thing. Like, I find the winter is very challenging. The things I like to do for fitness are not CrossFit; they're outside. So I find the winter is very challenging. Yeah.
I think winters around here, you can't rely on condition dependent activities,
No,
right?
yeah.
So those are bonuses. So you need to find something that does not rely on the conditions.
Right.
So you can put that, like for me, like let's say Mondays is non-negotiable. I do not miss a Monday, because if you miss a Monday, you give yourself the right to miss Tuesday,
Right.
and so on and so
Right.
on. If you go Monday, you've started on the right note, right? So you do something, 30 minutes of movement. You could do burpees, squats, and pull-ups, push-ups, whatever, lunges for 30 minutes. Move at whatever pace you want to do. I don't care how many reps you've done. You've moved for 30 minutes. You're in a positive mindset. You just set yourself up for success for the rest of the week as far as movement goes. And a lot of people overthink it too. Like, I don't necessarily get CrossFit workouts in on a daily basis. I sometimes go in the backyard and haul some logs,
Right.
cut some wood, build something.
Yes.
Take a wheelbarrow full of dirt from here to here 12 times and
Yeah.
shovel it fast.
Yeah.
I make everything about fitness, even if
Yes.
it's not a workout.
Well, that's good.
So it's not about getting a workout in. It's just about getting movement in on a daily basis. And I think if you can get yourself in that mindset of like daily movement,
Yes.
no matter what, like don't be too fussy about it, and be content with whatever you're able to do that day.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether it's a walk, a run, a CrossFit workout, or a wheelbarrow workout in the yard, that's cool. And the important part is you move today, you sweat a little bit. Tomorrow, if you want to go more intense and go for a 40K bike ride, let's go. You'll feel better for that 40K bike ride, right?
Yeah.
But keep that ball rolling, keep the momentum going. Start with a Monday workout, keep that momentum going for the rest of the week, right?
Oh, that's great advice. Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Very good. Very good.
So do you have any dad hacks for staying present and sane in the chaos of parenting young kids?
Other than intentionally scheduling in time, and I think one-on-one time is very important too for dads with more than one child. To do group activities, but to also spend one-on-one time. Be intentional about scheduling that stuff. And the only other one I like, I think I've already said is try to be the best dad, not in your ideal situation, but in the situation you have right now. And that might only mean a 5-minute quick coffee date with your daughter. Go do that. And that might be it for that stretch. But don't fall in love kind of with your idealistic version of dad, but fall in love with the dad you can be right now, without changing too much, kind of thing.
I love that. Oftentimes all they need is you to listen to, right? Like that's all they want.
Yeah, that's all they want. Yeah. And it's so hard because I'm sure you get it. Your kids are about the age where it's just like silly question after silly question after silly question.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, okay, this is backfiring. There's no real true connection going on right here.
The only other hack, I like that word, that I can think of is, and I think you've hinted at this idea before, but like modify the stuff you're already doing to include like the thing you want to do. So if it's being a dad and you have to run an errand, well, can one of your kids come with you on that errand? Well, just do that. There's special time, because you're right. Half the time they just want to be present and listen. And like my kids, I get to do this with dad. I get to help dad with work or whatever. Like part of my job is visiting people. And like when my youngest is home from school, people love young kids too. So it's like, do you want to go visit some of our older shut-in people? Yeah. Like, so the stuff that you already are doing that you have to do in some sense, there's probably a way where you can actually double down on that and make it life-giving for your kids as well. Like I'm sure there is. Even, groceries or something like that. Can you take just one of them with you? It'd be easier for you as well. And then that's a special time, right? But,
I agree. So many lessons to just exposing them to real life stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And work stuff. Like
yeah,
it's very hard for them to understand when you explain to them something in theory like work, let's say. Like
Right.
they don't understand work at 4 or 5 years old.
right.
But bring them with you and show them, you
Yes.
know, a little bit about what you do.
Yes,
There's no better way to teach them, you know, what
That's right.
the value of work, or like, you know, the difference you're making at work. You're helping people.
yeah,
You're providing for your family by showing up and doing those things.
yeah,
So there's no theory that's going to work as well as, you know, bringing them along. And
yeah,
even like you said, at the grocery store, like,
right.
you know,
yeah,
just showing them, you know, the value of, you know, what food costs and what's a
Yes.
healthy food, what's a non-healthy food, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's very valuable information.
yeah, yeah. Do you have any good dad hacks?
I think you like the one you just said, I really, really love, just to include them in
Yeah.
everything you
Yeah, if you can
do on
include
a,
them.
on
Yeah,
a habitual level.
that you're already doing. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think my favorite thing is lead by example, right?
Yeah.
They're watching everything you do. So whether like it's on a fitness and health level, like we've talked about already, or one of my most challenging ones, and I think this applies to probably 99% of the population, is cell phones.
yeah,
And I try very hard, and I'm not as successful as I wish I would be, but I try very hard not to be on my phone when like in their presence,
yeah,
or at least control, you know, the time frames which I'll allow myself to be on the phone when they're present. And they're calling me out lately. Like
Yeah.
at the age that they're at, they really, really notice it.
yeah,
So, and I find it ugly myself when I'm on my phone
Yes.
around them, right?
Yes.
But it's a very, very challenging addiction.
it is. I struggle big time with this, and it's one of the reasons that. So I now leave, and I've only started this a few weeks. It's in my rule of life. It's recently added to my rhythm, my schedule. But I used to get up in the morning and grab the cell phone. You look at your emails, right? You get stressed to start the day already. The glowing holy box has already overtaken you, kind of thing. Then you go downstairs and you're kind of frustrated with your kids already, and you're not paying them attention. So I heard a Christian who did this. So you don't have to be a Christian to do this. So my phone stays plugged in on my dresser. When I get up, I help my kids get breakfast. I will walk them to the bus stop, and when I come back, I still don't go to my phone. I get a cup of coffee and I sit outside, and then I read my Bible verse, and then I grab my phone. And that's been so good. Now at least I'm fully present in the morning. So that's one time where that's better than normal. But I'm still bad in the afternoons and the evenings on the phone.
Well, I think
but
that's
it is so hard. Yeah.
But that's an insanely good habit.
Yeah,
Right? What
and
you-
it's actually easier than I thought. I just started 2 weeks ago, and I've done it every day without a fail, without a miss. I just don't pick it up. I go downstairs. I'm present with my kids until they're off to school, and then I have a little bit of me time, of prayer time, meditation time, whatever you want to call it. And then I pick up the phone and start worrying about the tasks of the day. But yeah,
all of those things are just habits that you need to decide that you're changing, right? Like you
Yes.
need to be in that headspace that day where you're like, you know what? This is how I'm doing things from now on.
Yeah.
My mornings are extremely, I'm really religious in like doing things in a specific order
Yes.
in the mornings.
Yes.
And I don't defer from that.
I am too. Yeah,
And my mindset is kind of like, if I allow myself, want to be 1% off of that rhythm, then I allow myself to completely be off of that rhythm, right? So
Right.
I stay really like, so for me, it's like, I'm pretty hardcore. So I do everything in the same order all the time. Wake
Good.
up, I make my coffee,
Yep.
sit down, eat my banana.
Nice.
I go back, get my cup of coffee, sit in the same chair every morning. While I'm drinking my cup of coffee, I have a gratitude journal. It's called the 5-minute journal.
That's amazing.
So I
yeah.
start off my day intentionally with
Giving
that.
thanks. Yeah.
I read anywhere between 3 to 10 pages in the book that I'm currently
Right.
reading.
And if it's just 3 pages, that's fine.
Yeah,
right?
depends on how my brain feels that morning.
Or how noisy your kids are.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then
This is amazing.
all
Keep
of that,
going.
I haven't opened my phone yet, right?
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
awesome.
not as good as you are, and you're challenging me right now to up my game.
Yeah, just leave it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually I open my phone after that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to keep it on airplane. I have my phone on airplane
That's
mode,
smart.
like
Yeah.
from 8 o'clock at night to 7 a.m. in the morning.
That's
type
why
of
you
thing.
never answer me, okay? Not joking.
But you're challenging me to do it like from the time or all the way to the time that the kids are gone to school, and I
Yeah.
love that time frame. It's really
Yeah.
it'll really free up my mind during the time that they're there.
Absolutely. I don't think people realize how forming the things we do are. That sounds like a sentence that doesn't mean anything, but it does. Like how the things we do shape us so much. And one of the worst things about the cell phones is they shape us into consumers and the people who look for stuff and the people who just want to respond to things, right? And instead of these proactive people who are giving. So like that morning routine you just described is so great because it is shaping you into this person who is giving to yourself and giving to your family and things like that. Like I don't think it's such a silly thing to say, but people don't realize how they're already being formed so much by the things around them. So if you could start your day too being formed by your morning coffee, your book, and intentionally being with your kids, that is such a big thing, right? Instead of this glowing box that is forming us into people basically that we wouldn't want to be kind of thing. Yeah.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
You're definitely setting your day up, to go in a better direction
Yes.
than if you're waking up and the first thing you do is look at that shiny box.
Well, because even the sense of doing that is I'm looking at this to receive something from it, to consume something, or to do something essentially. And it's like, so even if you get rid of that action, all of a sudden, well, let's wake up the day thinking, what can I actually give today? What can I give to myself, to God, to my kids, to whatever, what can, like it's just such a better way to form the day kind of thing. A consumer, individual essentially versus somebody who is trying to intentionally be with their family, be with those around them, whatever they find important. So I know it's a silly thing with the cell phones, but I think they are shaping us more than we're aware of, if that makes any sense.
I think you're 100% right.
Yeah. So to just say no to it, even for 30 minutes in the morning, it's harder than we realize, but it's also like this wonderful thing.
It can change your day.
Well, I realized because I start off the day, I look at my emails, I'm stressed already, I'm freaking out, I read the article about politics or something, I'm freaking out about that, and then I'm upset with my kids for no reason and all this stuff, and I feel rushed. Now it's like, I don't feel as rushed. I get to be in nature, which I like. I get to be quiet, which I like. I usually, after that too, I bike to work. And that's another one of those things where it's like, I'm still outside and and I don't know, like those things are so much better shapers, formers than just looking at your phone.
And after all of that's done and you've set your morning off on the right path, you have all this, creativity that still lies in your brain because it hasn't been robbed by, your attention hasn't been robbed by, all the things that you need to respond to, like your emails and the
or the things you want, the advertisements and stuff. Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah.
I like to, I've had a mentor kind of suggest this to me a long time ago, and I don't answer to emails on a general basis. I don't open my emails until afternoon because my creative time frame is till noon.
Yeah.
At noon, I usually take a break. So I go eat or I go at the gym or whatever. Yep. And then in the afternoon, I try not to do, the hard things. I just answer to emails, those things that don't require a ton of brain power. And it frees up my mind, to do the harder things and the things that demand more creativity and stuff like that in the mornings. Or, if I have a meeting or a consultation or something like that, that requires, my thoughts and my creative power, I do that in the mornings. And in the afternoons when, all that energy has kind of been spent in the mornings, you can reply to the easy stuff like emails and stuff.
That's so good. I'm the same. I'm kind of useless in most afternoons, but
Sometimes I don't even show up in the afternoons.
Sometimes I skip work and go talk to my friends.
True story. So Dan, before I let you go here, if your daughters, this is a two-part question. So if your daughters could describe you in a few words, what would you hope, or how would you hope that they'd describe you, years from now when they've left home and they're all grown up? Second part of this question is, do you actually think they would describe you today?
Oh, um, wow, that's a really good question. How I would want them to describe me in a few years. I think I just like the idea, the dad who was there. I don't know, just dad in a sense, who was there. I think right now they would describe me as a dad who was there, but he seemed frustrated.
That's a super honest answer. I like it.
Yeah. No, I think they would describe me with some frustration. I think they would describe me with a lot of joy and laughter. I'm very goofy with the girls, and I'm lucky where Sarah seems to be, the main discipliner and things like that. So I'm very goofy and things like that. So I would hope they would describe me as, life giving dad who showed up, I suppose. And I think that they would. That I would hit some of those marks already, I think, but I would be frustrated as well sometimes. Yeah, I would also to get nerdy and churchy. I would hope they would describe me as a disciple of Jesus, and I would hope they would want to do the same. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that answer, Dan. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having
I
me.
really appreciate you being here, and thanks for being a good leader, a good dad, and a good role model for the other dads out there. And really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and same to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.